Good morning. I think I've still got the morning shift. My name is Nishal Goburdhan. I am not Adnan Beklo, but I am using his slides because this isn't really my content. As Alan, thank you for the introduction, Alan. As Alan mentioned, I do a lot of work in the internet, well, good for the internet space. I think that the internet's a great tool. It certainly made a huge difference to my life, and I'd like to see that return to the community. And part of that is doing work for Packet Clearinghouse. That's my day job. PCH is a research organization. We're based in California. And the perspective that I'm going to be talking to you today from is from the work that we've done with this. I'm very aware that we're quite behind time, so I will try to go through this as quickly as possible. As I say, it helps it's not my slides, so I don't have to talk too much about a lot of the intro stuff. So GCA is the Global Cybersecurity Alliance. It was founded by the London City Police and the Center for Internet Security, as well as some of the legislators in the US. And it was founded really out of a need to try to do more interaction cooperation around cybersecurity issues that were impacting, big cybersecurity issues that were impacting those relevant audiences at the time. You can go to their website and you can get the data. I don't need to tell you that they're a non-profit. They're trying to do the right thing for the internet, etc., etc., etc. The important thing is that they have lots of partners, I should say, people that they work with in organizations, non-profits, governments, civil society, pretty much all the sectors that you could think of. They have partnerships across the world. This is their marketing slide, so you can see where they are, and if you'd like to reach out to them, there'll be details for you to do that later. These are the sectors that they work in. You can see it pretty much covers most of the things that you'd be interested in, but all again themed around global cybersecurity. So the issue is really that when stuff happens on the internet, when bad stuff happens on the internet, it's not confined to just one particular group of folk. It's the internet. It's this massive connected network that we all know and love, that we rely on for our day jobs. So how to coordinate stuff that's happening in real time. And their MO, of course, and something that we firmly believe in as PCH, is that if you're going to do something, do it well, be able to provide data about it, and be able to show that you're making a difference. So, all of that is the introduction, which I'm supposed to spend more time on, but we zip through because of the time situation here. So, in probably a year or so, year and a bit ago, we were approached by GCA, and this is me with my PCH hat on, and we were asked to work with them on a project to try to help improve overall security across the internet, and they called it the Internet Immune System. And effectively what we're trying to do is we're trying to protect users and networks, so users of the internet really, through the DNS, the domain name system, which I'm guessing, since this is a technical audience, you're all very familiar with. So this is a partnership between us, PCH and GCA. As I said, it's a non-profit partnership. We don't make money out of this. It's good for the internet, and that's why we're involved in it. So what it comes down to is this, and I apologize for the detail on the slide, but it's effectively how all of this stuff happens. Effectively, it's an RPZ solution to trying to fix the problem of bad stuff that happens in DNS. Now, the way the DNS protocol works is if somebody sends you an email or somebody sends you a link to a potentially bad website, an average user, let's assume it's not the tech crowd that's in this room, but an average user is likely to look at this and click on it and then get taken to a potentially dangerous website. And once they're on the potentially dangerous website, they can then download malware that's there or pass out their details via phishing or any of the bad stuff that you've heard tons about over the last few days. And if you haven't, there's another stream going on about cybersecurity. The thing is, what if you could fix this? What if you could fix it at root level? And I don't mean DNS root level, but what if you could fix it at root level so that they never actually get to the site? And that's what the RPZ project tries to do. It tries to identify who and what are bad sources of data on the internet. So what are the phishing sites? What are the malware sites? What are the things that people should not be seeing? I'm going to pause for a breath here because I can already see the troublemakers getting ready to go to the microphone and saying we should not be censoring the internet. And normally I would be one of them. But this isn't about censoring the internet. This is about temporarily removing access to a resource that is very dangerous to the less clueful user on the internet. And a good example of this would be something like the recent WannaCry ransomware thing that went out, where, if you clicked on a particular link or if you tried to send something to a domain, you would have gotten your data scrambled. If we were able to block that at DNS, and this is exactly what happened, the guy registered the domain. If you were able to block it at DNS, you could save, thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions, lots, right? Lots of internet users from getting infected and then passing on that infected to a whole bunch of other people. How does this happen? Well, very easily. GCA have a system where they get information from what they called threat, the TI source, the threat individual sources. So they partner with a whole bunch of security-related organizations. And people that you normally would trust. It's the antivirus folk, it's the people that are doing sort of mapping out where denial of service attacks are happening. I'm trying very hard not to name names. It's people that are doing research into what is causing denial of service attacks, but potentially large international vendors. And if I remember correctly, there's about 14 of these trusted sources that provide information into this collective pool. And what happens is they take the pool, they build it into RPZ files. RPZ is basically response policy zones. And for those of you that are familiar with the DNS, it's a way of providing a particular answer to a question when asked from certain people. So if he had to say, what is the IP address of www.badsite.com, for example, we could provide an answer that's as simple as localhost, so you never actually get to that information. So GCA gets this data, they collate it, and they provide you with some response which, passes you off to information that says, this is a bad site, don't go there. If you go there, it's going to cause damage to your computer. Click here instead for some information on what the problem is, etc., etc. For our part as PCH, we're not involved in any of this, so I don't even know what they refer you to, because I don't know what these bad sites are, and I run a Mac, right? That was a joke. What we do as PCH is we carry the underlying infrastructure for them. So yesterday I put this map up when we were talking about the peering. I'm happy to see today it's gone up to 154, so that's good. So this is where we would effectively provide infrastructure out of. So we provide the back-end environment. We run DNS servers. We've been doing this for a long time. We're pretty good at doing this. A lot of infrastructure operators across the world use this. And GCA then tries to provide you some sort of sanitized DNS. This was announced, I think it was announced in about July-ish or so, but it's meant to be going live in November. So it's been running in pilot for this time, and we've got quite a few users on it. I think the numbers are on the next slide. There's about, there's about a million or so users on it. There we go, 60 to 120 million queries a day. There are peak blocks of about 100 million queries that go through. You can see the statistics for yourself. I'm not going to try to read them all out for you. Effectively, what's happening now is it's still in pilot phase, as I said, but we are welcoming, and I'm speaking on behalf of GCA now, we are welcoming folks to use the service. It is available across 5 continents. There you go. I don't think we have anything in Antarctica yet. I'm trying very hard to be the one that does that installation. Nobody likes Antarctica. But yeah, we're available across 5 continents. There is a site in Johannesburg that is live, that is featuring DNS. So if you're worried that your DNS is somehow going to be provided from some off-continent location and it's going to impact the quality of your service, it really shouldn't. The site in Joburg is quite fast. And if it isn't, at the end of this talk, you should all know who I am and how to find me and how to complain if there's a problem. So just to go back a sec, because I went through this the wrong way around. Why is this different from others? Because I can already see people going, we use 8.8 or 4.4 or any of the other open DNS services that are out there. A key belief of ours at PCH is this protection of privacy. And you would have heard me at the microphone this morning talking to the lady about how I don't want my data exposed to folks. So we don't have access to your data. Right, we really don't. And I'm not just saying that, we really don't have access to your data. The only thing that we do is we provide statistics on where threat indexes are happening. So if there's a large component of, say, Southern Africa that's suddenly trying to get to badsite.com, then it's very easy for us to bring up certs and other security organizations in that region to say, hey guys, are you aware that this is going on in your region? So we aggregate so that we can provide some sort of regional measure, which is useful for this kind of analysis, but we don't store any of the information. And it goes without saying that we're not trying to build a profile that's going to be used to commoditize your DNS searches or to provide you with targeted advertising or anything like that. At least I hope it goes without saying, and I didn't need to say that. So I think that's pretty much it. I'm not going to spend too much more time talking about it. There's a website for the project. If you're interested and want to read more about it, you can go to dns.globalcyberalliance.org, and you can see, I think they're now down to the individual stats on who's doing what. The Johannesburg site's still very much underutilized. As I said, it is something that's still in pilot, so we don't quite have the numbers that we'd like to yet, but it is being formally released, formally announced at around November-ish or so. But in the interim, if you'd like to use this, if you think it's useful, please please contact these guys, gca-dns@globalcyberalliance.org. So effectively what they want to do is they want to make sure that this is actually something that's going to be working for you. In other words, you're not from, say, the DRC and you're trying to get to a server in Johannesburg. That's going to actually not add, it's going to add safety value to you, but it's going to add DNS latency to you, and that's not necessarily a good thing, right? So they have a bunch of questions that they'll ask you, and when they're okay with, that this is going to be good for you, they'll then give you the IP addresses of the now in pilot services. But as I say, come November, this is stuff that should be globally known to all of you. So why am I saying this, and why do I think that this is useful? And you can see this is my slide, because it doesn't have the fancy background. For those of you that are South African based, and I guess most of the room is, my apologies for the few that are not. I didn't have time to do it, but you can extrapolate from our good friends at APNIC what percentage of DNS requests they see are DNSSEC signed, but also coming from things like other public DNS service providers. So if you're a South African provider, go hit that number. If you're from Botswana, change the ZA to BW. Find the people that use the public DNS resolvers at the top. And as someone was saying yesterday at the microphone, do you really want your DNS operator or your network operator to outsource his stuff to something that's like... Anyway, globalcyberalliance.org. This is his information details. My email address is nishal@pch.net. I've got tons of cards at the back. I'm here for the next few days as well. So if anyone except Jan, Andrew, Ben, and Malcolm have questions, I'll gladly take them. Thank you. I can't see.
Thank you very, very much, Nishal. Brilliant presentation, great timing. We have one more speaker for lunch, so one question from Jan. I think he was on the list of allowed questions.
This work, yes, okay. Jan George, random troublemaker from the community, speaking on my own behalf. As you mentioned, yes, this is potentially very, very dangerous thing. And I'm wondering how is the process of selecting which URLs and domains gets to this list is actually selected. Is that sort of like audited, transparent process to build a database? And how can it be seen so people does not add weird things to the list randomly?
Okay, that's a good question. The short answer to it is I don't know, because I don't know what's in that database. In the true form of data privacy, I don't even know what's in that RP. I can probably take a guess by looking at the threat indicators from different sites, but I don't. The way the information's gathered, they have about 14 reputable operators. I can't name them, it's not my place to do that. But they have 14 reputable operators, people that you would normally know that has access to this kind of information, people that are involved in cybersecurity analysis, threats and detection and anomaly detection on a real-time basis. And they have a mechanism to feed into some sort of global pool, which is sanitized and passed off onto us. From a PCH perspective, we run the back-end DNS. How it gets into that, we're not involved in that, but so unfortunately. Okay. But if you mail the email address, one of the guys will happily get back to you and explain to you how it's done. To address the first part of what you said, it's dangerous. Absolutely. So I know, and I hate doing this by geography, but I know of one country in the Middle East that was very interested in this technology because they thought we could use this to stop pornography. Now, you know, if you want to watch porn, that's your thing. It's not our place to judge. And that's exactly it. They got back and they were really upset with us when they discovered that even though they were implementing this, people could still watch pornography. And why were we not doing anything about this, right? But that's not the intent here. And the intent is not to remove freedom of choice of what the user is trying to get to. It's legitimate bad site that's spreading malware and that sort of things that people are trying to get to.
Okay, I will leave space to other troublemakers.
I wasn't banned. You, Saul from the general internet community, you've mentioned this is IP-based. Now, obviously being DNS, it is IP-based. One of the challenges with web content filtering is that that's also IP-based. So you have a shared website, web hosting, web server, and you have good content and bad content. And all of a sudden, the good content is also blocked because of the bad content. Now you're doing this at a DNS level. It opens up a whole new can of worms.
Yeah, that's true. So there's some interesting things that you can do with domain name requests and what you respond with that RPZ gives you access to. For the interest of time, which Alan is looking at me about, I won't discuss that here, but you can actually provide specific answers to specific things. We can chat about how RPZ is implemented later. Ooh, more questions.
So you brought up pornography. Does this relate at all to Interpol's child sexual abuse stuff? In other words, is that bad content that this would block as well?
I don't know. I don't think, child pornography, I think probably, but I don't know. As I said, I don't know how the list is built.
Hopefully it's all bad stuff. That would include anything that's illegal and immoral and unethical.
Well, I think things like legality is a different issue, right? There are certain things that might be illegal in some areas and not in others, and I'm hoping that the guys that are using this, or the guys that have built this, are cognizant of that. I've been using it at my sister's home, because I'm never at home, so I use the resolvers in my sister's home, and they've been, well, my test puppet dummies, I should say, for 4 or 5 months now, and they haven't reported anything not working to me, and they're a busy household. I mean, 3 kids moving around all the time, etc., etc., etc. So,
thank you so much, Nishal. Just one quick question: do you know what a network operating system is?
What a network operating system is? Well, that's an interesting definition to different people.
Okay, well, hopefully we're going to hear the answer to that by Tia de Groot, who's the next.